Hello and welcome. Today is that of the 8th day of September 2018. My name is Derek. This is Money Charts channel. Like always, all bets, trades, and of the like within each his own risk and their own reward. Huge rally that Bitcoin's been going through since the beginning. Really, every time it's sold off, it's obviously been going up every single time, or has been a retracement within the primary trend. And before it was this level of resistance that it broke. So the stories keep on changing. And then on the break of an uptrend resistance of this, wow, big move, as it managed to just have that run. So we've had a big lows in here at even below 200, but from this level to this high. At some point, you always got to have to correct via time and or price, and oftentimes you're going to have big price corrections. But I like to say is fill some of the empty space in here that you're going to have, because on a bullish level, yeah, come hold somewhere at least as far as down in here. It doesn't have to go that far, and well, okay, that went down to here. Key levels, and the stories amongst everything else within Bitcoin can have so many different meanings towards it. For before in 2018, it was a major descending triangle as the price action had this rate of descent, then it changed its form, and then this little mode in here was just epic for extreme microscopic volatility. And then that story changed as you had your capitulation sell off, straight down move, consolidate it successfully, as this low obviously was holding. It held the highs and lows known after the fact. Resistance, which coincided with Fibonacci, was established huge, and thus it was an ascending triangle. So there was a descending format correcting from the up move. And then after this low in here was really that failed breakdown. I talked about these things before. Really, as before this even happened, as like a warning sign. Now I was figuring before, as I talked about it back in here. One thing to watch out for was the failed move down to here, which would have drew it like this. But I mean that didn't happen. Of course, it was a valid sell-off move that created this higher low. And in the act of not resisting this, at least really only that little bit in here, that's not much of resistance as it is anyway. To have this extreme move come up to here and only really correct this right now. So as I've been saying since the June 21st move, okay, we got this high, we got this low. Until we break it, we're just in this range. It's sideways consolidation. There's really nothing more to say about it other than working within the range itself. And let's take a little bit within it, because nowadays you're thinking, yeah, Bitcoin's a little over 10,000, a little below. Yeah, exactly. That's like because you're so used to these prices. Maybe before you remember, yeah, it was 11,000, 12,000, but yeah, mostly around the 10,000 number. And back in here, you were like, oh, 35, 36, 37. Yep, between 35 and 4. In here, of course, this was just epic. Yep, a little over 6,000 for a long time. And of course, that conditional thinking is always going to change. And at some point, it's going to break it within one side or another. Breaking it to this, well, it's only had a little bit of a move. So coming down to here and having a little bit of a deeper correction, just like this had the deeper correction from the last one, so be it. But getting it above here, as I've stated before, we've corrected well. When I see exitation of this resistance, I'm going to be looking for a move to previous high, which is near 20,000. And within that range, right now, there's not really not much to go over. You're going to have whatever moves, and it can jigsaw back and forth until it finally breaks it. It's a decent ways away from the key low, and it's a further level away from the high. And we've been battling with lower highs from this one. Lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, higher high slash matching high to this. Okay, so a little bit of progression in actually making this, something that didn't happen back in that descending triangle in 2018. It never made a single higher high, but at least not when you're looking at it from this type of point of view. In this case, it did a higher high to this. Obviously important on that bullish level to hold amongst here, but any of this break of this resistance to me means that we can test betweening the low range of this level, so betweening here and here would be the next level I'd be looking to be tested. And meaning, another way of saying that is I would expect a fast move up to 12,000. Okay, now let's look way up into the cosmos. And this morning that was able to be done, although you didn't look way too up, because Atom, the ticker symbol, also known as Cosmos, we can see here up to 8,000 and change, had this level of support at 5,000 Satoshi. Today it's at 2443. And to say this was, or is even really, a downtrend, well, most certainly, of course it is. However, today's session is we got a little bit of a gain as the price action bottomed here on September the 5th. That's a little hair above or below rather 18. And then after successfully consolidating within the 18, establishing short-term level of resistance at the 1888 1900 area, it had the breakout on the 11 a.m. timestamp 2 mornings ago, and then consolidated after establishing two levels of resistance, one at 2083, again at around 2046. And if you look at it 1 hour 50, you get maybe better numbers, but I'm not going to do that right now. However, I do see that it did break that level in here, come back to where it came from and hit that resistance. Didn't go deeper, and that's the interesting thing here, or maybe something that might have eluded the fact that of what was to come. As this correctionary mode, what didn't happen was it didn't go to the 18 average of lows, and it didn't go deep into this point. It had a huge single period move that retraced back about 107% or over 100 because it got above this previous high, consolidated for 2 periods, and then this one had a low of 2200, a little over, and a high at 2872. So that's a 670 point differential. And 220 is 10%. So that's a little over 30% volatility in that period. And then from the high, well, if the high was 2872 and we are currently standing at 2440, well, that's a differential of about 430 basis points, which is well over a 10% decline, really, intra-morning for this market. And in viewing such on the single minute, well, the move was fast, the volatility was light, the volatility is light now, as this move has just been, not doing anything, because lately it's been, just over since like 9:29. It is 10:21 right now, so for the better part of an hour, or better part of an hour. 2436 low, 2463 high. That's a 24 plus 27 point differential, just 1% after we've went through all of that. But these markets do that. They go up a lot faster than they go down, and they can do it quickly, and they oftentimes do, this being one of those oftentimes. And then they can retrace those gains fast, and, well, that's just how the game goes. So, unfortunately for myself, I woke up a little bit too late. I woke up well after 8. I usually wake up after 7, so I was getting like 2,400 whatever prices. So I was getting pretty much current market prices to do my trade on my ratio with Atom and Litecoin. But if I would have got up my normal time, it would have been maybe around the 7 o'clock hour. And I would have probably sold a bit here, and then I would have sold some more here. So I would have had a couple trades that would have went through, which it is what it is. But that's exactly it. You got to be fast oftentimes within these markets. Have your orders ready to go in whatever places and stuff like that, because when these things will go, they can go extremely fast. And just because I want to, I'm going to bring up another reminder of what happened November the 30th, 2018 with that of Theta. Before I'll do that, I'll show the current market conditions of it, which having its volatility, having a move August the 9th, going under 1,000, making it up close, a little over 1,300, and has retraced about 75+% within this market. Major established support at above 1,000, closer to 1020. And as we play on the 3 hour within the 18, having a lot of time stand within it, but attempting to exit this average. So definitely a nice little setup of brewing. But again, I want to show you November 30th of last year. And at this time, it's actually the 29th at about 9:10 o'clock p.m. And the price action would have been in a primary downtrend, as we can see in here. Choppiness within it. Really hard to get a lot of this direction of trend, but yeah. So how it would play out from here? Well, we had that move. Oh, just quickly to 1455, and then that, and then let's do the little scrolling, and it never came back anywhere near that high. But that was until, of course, early in the year when we actually would go over 5,000. But at that original time, and you could wait for days and days. We could see December 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th just hanging in there, and it did its thing when it was ready to do it again. But these things, again, can go really fast. I want to talk about a couple that had huge moves yesterday, one after the other, and then check to see what else might be doing. So right now that I have no idea is kicking ass. And this is theta at now. But before I do that, I've been thinking a couple times today to check the Bitcoin dominance, and I haven't seen it. So I want to take a look at that now while I'm thinking about it. And on the single hour term time frame, it's down a little bit. So taking a look at this on the single day, it's re-entering correctionary mode. The 18, at least for the trading view point of view, the 18 average of lows comes in at 71.83. So yesterday, I talked about a coin that went haywire, and well, it continued to do so. And that was Breadcoin. I think it was anyway. But anyway, yesterday, well, we've seen it go from before 5,000, basically from just before June 18th, hitting a low of around, well, we'll just even say this low here, June 25th, but it went, what day was, no, excuse me, June 13th, yeah. June 13th, and then coming down here on June 26th. So it took 2 weeks to go from this low to this high when it first did it. Then extended its losses a bit, went up, higher load it. Higher load it? Is that? That's, whatever. And then this move in here, even this little, like what happened here? Did it, oh, well, the answer was it went up first, down second to the low, and then it closed to this high. Let's take a look at this even shorter term. In the single hour, this was the volatility beforehand, doing its thing. Everything was like, okay, a range between 2450 and 2554. This is on log scale, and then that. So even this, like whatever move here, was down 1.69% over that hour. This hour it was down 13. This hour was down 4. This hour was up 37. At one point it was up near 100. And this is what the 18 average just happened to look like. I don't know if it's something like a snake digesting its food, or I don't know what it would be, but yeah, that's what the BRD would look like. Let's even look at it even more shorter term. And 15, this is yeah, this is it. Just this one period of sell, yep, up 100% during the 13, 15-minute time frame. How do you do? And then this move here, this low here, we can see a low of 2120, or no, 2127. Yeah, 2127. And but it was congesting at 25 before. So how many times do you think the Dow Jones has actually, no, that wasn't what I need to refer that for the next chart. So never mind. Throw that to Dow Jones thing. I'll talk about that in about 2 minutes. But after all this stuff was going on, I noticed on Binance that, hey, what's going on with SNGLS? It's got some interesting movement. It was up pretty big, but I happened to be looking at it during its run higher. As yesterday at about 1600 hours, so after all that shenanigans on the BRD was going on, you have to be fast within these markets. This is the 15-minute time frame. So you're doing all this low volatile SHIT kind of stuff, and then this happens from 1600 hours, like for 4 o'clock, just the hour, just that hour, things get all this wild and everything's back to normal. I suppose we could talk about how, hey, look at this uptrend here going on. I'll forget all this nonsense here, but only price pays, and if you happen to be there to sell, then your orders, you don't have to be there technically, you just have to be there in advance to have them ready to go. And if you're there at that time and you sell the breakers, SNGLS, I guess it's how it's done. Well, that's what it was. Let's take a look at this shorter term even. But this is what it looks like right now. 65 Satoshi, 66. Yeah, you can see a little bit of action on the 1 minute. Most minutes, some of the minutes have trades. Look, like, yeah, between 750 and 757 this morning was this little gap. But anyway, let's go back to yesterday. And can you distinguish whenabouts on this chart it happened? Okay. So the market was just doing all of this type of stuff. What time are we looking at here? It's 15:34. And oh, what happens here at 16:07? That's when this happened. So 15:34, not one single trade was made from for about a half an hour. And then 4:07 p.m. New York time happens. And then this. Now it's 4:11, 4 minutes later. And then all of this move, and now we're trading by the minute. And there's going to be several trades per minute, like a lot of the markets have. And have those moves, and it was several minutes going up and several minutes where you could still get action on the way down. So therefore, look for at least say over 85. You had from 1617, it looks like, to 29. And really, for that matter, for everything from 77, you had 1614 until it broke down at 1650, basically. So you had a little over a little over 30 minutes to get price action above like 77, 78, and to get above like 90. Well, you had from 18 minutes after to about 28 minutes after. And then maybe you got it on the order up here, you got 88, 89, but always you got to be really, really, really quick. So I thought, you know what, let's take a look at, I did this yesterday. I took a look at the combination of just what BRD and GLS would look like together. And this is what the 4 minute term would have looked like, where the ratio in here would have been about 40, 39 and change before breadcoin started rallying. And then it rallied up to about 80 or so, 40 to 80. So it doubled. It doubled. And then it went from 80, because remember, as happened, BRD after its rally had two moves, and then it sold off, so it went down to like 20 something. So it ended up losing over 3 times its value. And then it doubled from 24 up to this 48 number here. So 1728, like 5:30, it did it. It started its rally at like 1 o'clock. The Dow Jones has only once ever in its life doubled its price and then endured a 3x loss and then doubled its price again. You'd have to go back to the end of the 1920s. And it didn't lose 3 times of its value. I mean, it lost more. It lost about 9 and change, but closer to 10x. And then, of course, now since the Dow Jones low, it is up about 1,000 times, 50. I don't know, a lot. So anyway, yeah, that's the volatility in here. So just out of curiosity, I'm going to take a look at the market on Binance and see what the best performers are right now over the last 24 hours. And as I've shown before, the Bitcoin dominance was doing pretty good. But this is the volume in here, and let me just go to BTC. Nothing's really up big. And I don't count the DENT or the BTT because you're up one Satoshi to get it to that number. EDO is up 17.54. So it's up there with Storm. I guess I'm going to take a look at EDO. I was hoping and expecting something else was doing better. Not the case. At least Litecoin's up now up to 70.52 on this, but that was that's the last thing that I was looking at before. What's the big losers at? And again, NPX down to 3. Wow, that's just like, wow. CHZ. I also wanted to talk about, oh man, what was that? It was Guppy. It's another one I wanted to look at. So let's take, talk about it. I already looked at that one. Let's see what Ito's up to. And I'm just going to load it up now for the first time. My internet, unfortunately, is running a little slow at this time, but just wanted to take a look at this volatility in here. Interesting. We've got this support 307. And then on the daily, from this high of about 2,400, we'll even go about 21, 22. 7x loss on the market. Yeah, nothing too fantastic. Actually, it's getting its ass kicked like a lot of these other coins because that's been the way a lot of these altcoins have been doing. So when they're ready to go, we could have some tremendous performances, but sometimes these rallies are going to equate to failed rallies, like is seen in here. Let's move on to Guppy because that one has been really getting its ass kicked. As this thing, just even about a month and a half ago, even a little over a month ago, was over 100. Now it's at 20. But that's 5 times. Oh, I mean, it was higher than that. It was like 200. That's like 10 times. Well, it's close to 400. That's 20 times. 500 would be 25 times. It's even higher than that. It was at one point. It was over 1,200. That's 120, 60 times. Oh, it was even higher than that. 5,500. And this is where you know your log scale is not fine. So this is where I have to multiply the market by 100 million to make it look fine. Bittrex has very good log charts. CoinMarketCap.com has very good log charts. This one doesn't. And we can see the heart of the decline a little bit better in here now. And it's a pretty significant one, breaking the support at 430. Recent, or not recently, but prior to that, it broke support at around 15 to 1600. And is this one of the coins that was a scam from the start? Was done to the point where we tried to do well, unfortunately competition or things just didn't work out as planned. Maybe that high op emissions and just it didn't work. And is this like the greatest bargain in the world after all? If you would have bought back in here 15,000 satoshi, yep, put put 20 Bitcoin down on there for me at 15,000 satoshi. Well, today, I guess 15,000 divided by 20, 1,500, and then I have to do half of that would be 750 less. So 20 divided by 750. Well, yeah, you can see just that's how much it's lost. 750 times its value from that high. It's just how monstrous this volatility can come into play. And I don't think there's much you can do to just buy and sell this from the start and expect to be ahead. In fact, there's almost no way you could be winning with this unless you got in and out at different right times and stuff like that. And maybe this thing will work out and it'll come up to about 100 or even about to 300, 400. Possibly. But there is a lot of these altcoins on the market. And final note that I want to bring up is regarding United States and Binance. As I just did a quick little search because of the exchanges. And one day ago, this is all one day ago, Binance creates in New York, or I will say an approved US dollar stablecoin. Second one from the block, but Binance US to launch in coming weeks will require stringent KYC, know your customer. And then US Today news, Binance.us exchange to launch in the coming weeks. Would this be bullish or bearish news for altcoins? And I mean, I say this sarcastically, thinking it is. But, yeah, that's where it stands right now. So it looks like good news to be coming there. And even from the start, they were talking about how we're working on looking to do this back when the news was announced months ago. And I do want to finish this off with LITECOIN against the dollar. And I'm going to show this on the Poloniex exchange merely for the fact that I put my lines in here a long time ago. That was just luck, I think, especially if this breaks out from here, that the $63.63 mark happened to act the way that it did after it resisted breaking above that 127 line. For these numbers represent Fibonacci from this high and this low. I was looking at this line before it was on the way up because I could calculate it because I knew this high, I knew this low, and I knew this back in February. So I just happened to put these lines in, put this one in as well, And then I put another one in just in case it was able to break above this resistance, but obviously it resisted 126. And I mean it was kind of luck that it did. And again, it's kind of luck again now. But in transitioning back to the daily, it most certainly has a nice little. I mean, the band's going sideways. It's looking like it wants to attempt to go higher, and it's got pretty. Look, it's doing pretty okay as far as where it's going through. You can only presume when you look at the shorter terms, like the 831 hour, that you're going to be getting some pretty nice little charts. The 8 hour, yeah, because you have this last down move. It gets above here, established resistance, comes back, holds, and stays within this 18. Yes, it goes below it, but it never does break this three times or four times hit, multiple hit 64 level. And now, after hitting this level of resistance, and since it's came back up here over the last few periods, where the entire last period, the entire period before, and so far this entire period with a rally from its low has held and stayed above this 18 average of high area within this area of congestion. So that's a bullish statement. And I like this type of candle preceding what came before it. And as we've really established nicely, the 70 and a half to 70 high level, basically the last 50, 60 cents of 70 on the 70.5 mark, but it's this level of previous resistance in here. So this tells me that this should have the opportunity to go up several dollars, breaking this level of resistance with good probability odds. And this is what it looks like on Poloniex for the single hour. So let's just move it to Binance instead for this time frame. So the question is, which market or which exchange has more volume? Big, big, big difference. But within the single hour in here, we've had this level of support established from this move in here. It's 68. So yeah, that's we've got resistance that it's testing. Big move on this hour, so it's a really big one here. If you can see it breaking out above the high 70s into 71 and holding and staying above it for several hours, that's a very productive sign moving forward to, like I've been mentioning, making at least on a minimal scale several dollars up to about the 75, 76 area. And finishing off with an Binance coin, again, just another one of those luck things because I put in this line a while ago for an area I thought Binance coin was going to go down to, which was a pierce below the 2079 handle. It pierced below the 2079 handle. And since then, it has had this amazing green candle move up at 12 o'clock hour period on the, well, after lunch on September 5th or 3 days ago. But I love how it's been maintaining within this 18. The three periods that followed had tests of both the 18 average of highs and 18 average of lows. But over the last five, it has just hung in there within the 18 average of highs, almost like it's glued to it or sticking to it kind of deal. But the 18 average of lows is only going to start to rally. The 18 average of highs, of course, is staying flat because of where it is. But interesting little pattern looking at it on the 8. And on the single hour, volatility here, of course, a lot bigger, but there you can see it just how it's sticking in there. Even just the last like three periods here on this micro volatile level. But getting above the 217.6 type handle here, well, that's where we are. That's the next resistance level. Getting above the 216 is 217 or 218. But yeah, getting above here, this thing has decent sized potential because next level resistance is here, and then getting above here, you're talking about filling all this empty space, at least from this high in here. Alrighty, thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great Sunday and great start of a new week. Bye bye.